Welcome back, everybody. This part of our journey finds us headed into Wall Drug. Funny part about this is we are back on I-29 north of Sioux Falls when we first saw a sign for Wall Drug advertising the tourist attraction. It started out as a really small store and it grew into something really big. It just still amazes me how many hundreds of miles away we were from it when we first started seeing all of the different signs. It's one of those quirky little tourist trap type things, but seemed right up our alley. We definitely wanted to check it out while we were in the area. It's got a cool little backstory as well. I'll tell you about here in just a little bit. It still got me how many different signs advertising everything. The different things they have there in the store, to the free ice water that started it all, to homemade ice cream, to donuts, to all kinds of stuff. Seemed like there was a sign for everything. The Wall Drug is in the town of Wall, South Dakota, just outside the Badlands. What I thought was really neat is the backstory of the family that started this all out. In 1931, Ted and Dorothy Husted bought the drugstore in Wall. And Ted figured he'd give it a good solid 5 years to see if they could make it there because he wanted to own his own drugstore. When they first moved to the place, they moved in there and they had their 4-year-old son, Bill, with them. Say that the first few years they operated the drugstore were meager is probably an understatement. It was the summer of 1936 when Dorothy came up with a suggestion of offering free ice water because she saw all the different traffic driving by on Route 16A, as it was called back then. Ted agreed, and they actually made up some signs, and Ted and another boy walked out to the highway and put up their signs advertising free ice water. And next thing you know, they had all kinds of people coming in that were just driving by on the highway. Now that there was a free ice water out in the middle of nowhere, people were pulling in and getting water and buying ice cream and just really, really boosted their business to something that I don't think either one of them really imagined to begin with. And from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. What I thought was kind of neat as you walk through the store, you'll see it in several clips like this, is they have just a ton of old pictures, old newspaper clippings, just all kinds of things from what this store brought them. And it was really neat. Good people doing good things for others. This is their backyard area. It was fun and quirky. Of course, we were there so early in the season that a lot of different things were closed at the time. Like in the backyard mall, pretty much everything in the backyard mall was closed up. I mean, they got the Prairie Food Parlor, the Skinny Saloon, the Branding Iron Arcade. They have a mining company that you can actually do some mining or gold panning. They were all closed when we were there, which was unfortunate, but it's still a neat place. We really enjoyed being there. Sorry for the camera shake there. I was trying to record with both my phone and the camera at the same time. Still amazed me how many historical newspaper clippings and pictures they had been able to save over the years, and how big that single drugstore has become. And they have their own donut factory, homemade ice cream. I think there was 2 restaurants or maybe even 3 restaurants. There's jewelry store, t-shirt store, bookstore, Western wear and boots store. Just amazing how much is in there now. And, that's pictures of Ted and Dorothy. And the fact that it's still in the family, too, is just, to me, it's just a really neat success story of some good people. And you look back at the history, and Dorothy, she passed away in November of 1995. Ted followed her in January of 99. And their son, Bill, who had been fighting Lou Gehrig's disease, he died in October of 99. But Bill had married Marjorie. She still helps run the store. And then Ted's grandson, Rick, and his wife, Pat, are also involved in running Wall Drug. So it is still family owned by the family and run by them. And it's funny to think that back in 1936, when they first laid out some of their signs, they were like 2 foot by 3 foot cardboard signs they put out, or probably wood, I don't know, but put out on the highway, just a relatively short distance from the actual drugstore. And nowadays you literally can go hundreds of miles away and you can see them on I-29 out of Sioux Falls. We had a whole lot of fun checking it out. We were able to walk through most of the buildings. And we even bought a couple little souvenirs from there. On one hand, I'd like to come back when a lot of this stuff is open. But on the other hand, it was really nice to be there without really large crowds. And it is amazing when you look at it. It takes up probably about 3/4 of an entire city block just for Wall Drug now. And it started out as a very, very small drugstore. They even have a chapel on site. I know it's quirky, I know it's not for everybody, but in my opinion, if you're in the area of Wall, South Dakota, I would check out Wall Drug. It was fun. It was neat. Love the family story behind it all. We had a great time. I think you would too. Thanks for coming along.